Solange Chapter 3. There was no way I could get out if this. He was pointing a loaded gun at me. I was still partially stunned from the car crash and I couldn't even think straight. It was also dark and both of us could only see each other by the lights of the car which were still on. My first impulsion was to run into the darkness, but I quickly decided against that. He was a killer and therefore possibly a good shot. I might not get very far before he shoots me down. "Get out of the car," he ordered. "Or what?" I taunted. "What are you going to do?" "I plan to shoot you as soon as you get out of the car. Now, I will be counting from 1 to 3. After that, if you don't get off the car, I will shoot you." It was a tense situation, one that I couldn't help. I detached the seat belt and slowly got out of the car. After I had done so, he asked me to get on my knees and I did. I thought he was going to shoot me then. But he clearly wanted to have some fun first. "Beg for your life," he said. "Over my dead body," I replied. "Yes, you will be a dead body soon. But first, beg for your life. I might decide to kill you faster. Because as for now, I intend to kill you in a slow and horrible way. I will do no such thing. Do your worst." I was defiant. "Okay then, say hi to Lucifer and all his demons," he said and pulled the trigger, but the gun jammed. He tried again, but the gun jammed again. That was all the time I needed. With the speed of light, I ran towards him just as he tried the third time. This time, the gun fired but missed me because I was already in motion. I got hold of the gun and we started struggling. I was really exhausted and had no strength for a long fight. So, I decided to end it quickly. I pulled a concealed knife from my boot and air-conditioned his stomach. I made it work like a zipper, running the knife from below his rib cage and all the way to his belly button. He fell to the ground shaking with his intestines out. I looked at his eyes and saw no life. He was already gone to that big fire where all sinners would go to. The car was damaged and I had to worry about that another day. I cleaned the knife, picked up my gun and climbed out of the valley. My next destination was the Abeds. I needed to get to the rest of the killers. I figured there were still about 5 of them there. Luckily for me, I had already covered a good distance with the car and the Abeds was just a walking distance away. When I got there, I realized the drinking section of the small 2-story village Abeds was still on. There were a few men drinking there and some beautiful ladies too. I went to the receptionist and made inquiries about the shooters, but she didn't seem like one to give any information. She wanted something else. So, in order to get what I came for, I had to play by her rules. I suddenly switched from soldier to playboy. "When will your shift be over?" I asked. "Why do you ask?" "I figured we could discuss business over a few drinks. What do you think?" I smiled and winked at her. "That would be a lovely idea. I will be done in 30 minutes. Actually, my shift is over. I have been waiting for my replacement for almost an hour." "Okay, there she is," she said and pointed to the door as another lady walked in and approached the reception area. While we were drinking, I had a few questions for her. There were a group of guys who were lodging here. They came from the city. "Do you know how I can find them?" I asked. "What do you want with them?" "That would be my business." "Well, if that is your business, then it's fine with me. I don't want to get involved by the way. They look dangerous, and you know, I am just a woman. Do you know where I can find them?" "Nope, you are too late. They left earlier today." From the way she was speaking, I realized she knew more than she was telling, but she was being cagey. I figured that it was because she was wary of me. My dress looked ruffled from the accident and fights I had just had. I also didn't look like one of the village folks. But above all, I wasn't giving her what she wanted. I knew she wanted a little bit of nighttime fun. In the intelligence field, sometimes we were forced to do things we didn't like just to extract information from a suspect or a culprit. So, I figured I might have to dance to her tune in order to get what information I wanted. So, I stopped talking about the killers and talked about her instead. You are a beautiful woman, with all the fixings. God created you on a Sunday, no joking. I said, and she smiled. What do you want? Tell me. Can we go upstairs? I could book a room and we will have some fun if you want. Of course, I want. What took you so long to ask? We finished our drinks, and I went to the receptionist and booked a room. We went upstairs together, and she was in front while I brought up the rear. She walked with a sensual swagger, and all my eyes were on her backside and the way she swayed them. Her behind was well-rounded and the straight skirt she was wearing revealed all her curves. We got into the hotel room and got to business straight. I had her buttocks in my hand and the feel of the material of her skirt made them feel really good. I took off her skirt, then her panties, and she gasped when she undid my zipper and held my male genitalia. She was amazed at its size and hardness. I got on her and the squeaky and noisy bed was able to tell the rest of the story. Some 45 minutes later, we were done. As we lay in each other's arms, looking at the ceiling, she started talking. This time she didn't wait for me to ask. About those guys you asked about last night, they are dangerous men. They work for a rich owner of a modeling agency back in the city. Really? Tell me more. I urged. They came here a few days ago, making inquiries about a lady named Solange. There were 8 of them. Where the other 3 went, I do not know. However, just 5 of them left. She explained. I took care of the other 3. I mumbled. What did you say? Never mind. What do you want with them? They are dangerous. You should be careful. She warned. Danger is my name. But don't worry, I will be fine. She was feeling sleepy after the pleasure we had. She then turned her back to me and dozed off. I was still awake and kept thinking. If they came from the city and were working for a rich owner of a modeling agency, it only goes to confirm my suspicions. They could have been sent by Solange's former boss. However, I had to be careful. Solange might have made more than one enemy while she was in the city. I had to be cautious. I had to make sure I had the right person before contacting Solange. I got out my phone and sent her a text. Hi Solange, it may interest you to know that 3 of your defilers are already dead, though at the expense of my car. So far, I have been able to track them to the abode at the edge of town. I was able to get information that they came from the city and that they work for a rich boss who is into modeling. I have my suspicions, but I don't want to make any hasty prognostications. Tomorrow, I will be leaving to the city with my mom's car. Mine is badly destroyed. When I get there, I intend to get the main culprit, and as soon as I do, I will communicate that to you. For now, stay blessed. Bye. I sent the message and it showed 2 great ticks. She was surely asleep. Having texted Solange, I figured it was time to call it a night. I needed some rest and gain some energy before my trip to the city tomorrow. I turned and looked at Ashley, the hotel receptionist. She was deep asleep. I was about to turn off the light of the room when I seemed to hear some movement around the door. I listened intently and figured there was someone there, probably an assassin sent to eliminate me. Ashley had told me that the killers had all left town. So, I wondered who could be there. Ashley, Ashley. I whispered, waking her up gently. Luckily, she woke up immediately. For a hotel receptionist, she was used to having her sleep being interrupted at very odd hours. What is the matter, Nick? Do you want some? She asked in a sleepy voice. SHHHHH. Listen, someone is at the door, and I don't think it's room service. She listened carefully and realized that someone was indeed at the door. She started panicking. I calmed her down, got her off the bed, and we both tiptoed, naked, into the bath. I left her there and came back into the room. Whoever was inside was convinced we were asleep and would therefore make an easy target. He pushed the door with all his might and the flimsy door gave way. He opened the door but didn't see anyone. He got inside with a drawn gun, ready to shoot, and moved towards the bath. He opened the bathroom door and saw Ashley. "Where is he?" he asked her. "Oh, don't play with me. You know who I am talking about." "I don't." He gave her a slap and pushed her on the floor. She fell back, and since she was still naked, he thought she was an easy target for defilement. He decided he was going to take advantage of her and make her pay for not revealing where I was. "Spread your legs," he barked. "Please, don't hurt me," she pleaded. "I won't if you play along, but I promise to kill you if you don't." Ashley pretended to concede and laid back. The killer removed his zipper, and instead of getting on her, he wanted more than that. He wanted a BJ. So, as he brought his D++K closer to her mouth, she held it and beat it with all her might. The scream that came from his mouth could be heard kilometers away. He shouted and attempted to shoot her, but he was in so much pain that he dropped the gun. Ashley got off the ground, still naked, and gave him a hard punch on his balls, worsening his agony. As he fell back into the room, holding his manhood in pains and weeping like a child, I appeared from my hiding place and put 2 bullets in him. He died instantly. Ashley ran towards me and gave me a tight hug. She was visibly shaken. I removed the killer's mask and recognized him immediately. He was one of the 8 guys and the 4th to die. So, he had been left behind to take care of me should I trace them to the abeds. I now understood that I wasn't just dealing with easy criminals. I was dealing with hardcore gunslingers who weren't just vicious, but they also laid strategy. I decided that I had to be extra careful and up my game as I moved to the city to begin the hunt for their wicked boss. TOB continued. Stay glued for the remaining episodes.